As longtime viewers of my channel, you all know by NPC logic that more views equals better quality. But I have a theory that more years equals more wise. By that NPC logic, I think it's time we look at OG FoodTuber Food Wish's channel. He's been making YouTube videos since before I could even read, so he has to be good at it. I don't feel like combing through his over 2,000 videos, so I'm just gonna pick one at random. Proper British fish cakes.
Proper British fish cakes. That's right, I've been streaming a lot of British cooking shows lately. And to get started, we're going to begin at the end by mixing up a tartar sauce we're going to serve our fish cakes with, which includes some mayonnaise,
some
chopped up capers,
a
nice spoon of prepared horseradish.
I don't have horseradish, so I'm using grated garlic. It looks the same.
Plus a little touch of Dijon mustard.
Plus a little touch of yellow mustard.
And then we definitely want some fresh herbs. And I'm going to do some freshly chopped Italian parsley.
Some freshly chopped Italian parsley.
Plus some freshly chopped tarragon.
Plus some chopped cilantro.
And then besides that, we'll also add a little bit of minced shallot.
A little bit of minced shallot.
And then last but never least, we'll add a few shakes of cayenne.
A few shakes of cayenne.
We'll take a spoon and give this a mix.
And then we give it a mix with a Ligma fork.
And once we're happy with how that tastes, we'll go ahead and pop that in the fridge until we need it.
We'll pop that in the fridge until we need it.
And once that's set, we can move on to our fish. And what I have here is 1 pound of cod.
And what I have here is 1 pound of radioactive whitefish. I don't really know what kind it is. I think they labeled it wrong at the grocery store.
I do like to cut them in like 1.5 inch strips first.
Cut them into 1.5 inch strips.
Once we have our fish cut, what we'll do is add a little bit of milk to a saucepan.
I don't have milk because my dad still hasn't come back from the grocery store, so I'm using half cream, half water.
Plus we'll toss in 1 bay leaf.
1 bay leaf.
At which point we'll transfer our freshly cut fish over the top in 1 nice single uniform layer.
Put our freshly cut fish over the top in 1 nice single uniform layer.
And then we'll season the top generously with salt.
Season the top generously with salt.
But anyway, as soon as the mixture does start to simmer, we'll give it a quick stir with our spoon. And then we're only going to let this cook for about a minute or so.
Why is it curdling? Is it supposed to do that? You know, my cream expired a couple days ago. It's probably okay.
That's the point where we want to stop and turn off the heat. And we will cover this. And we'll let that fish sit in that hot milk for 5 minutes.
Turn off the heat, cover it, and let that fish sit in that hot, curdled, creamy water for 5 minutes.
And we will transfer that into a strainer set over a bowl.
Transfer that onto a strainer set over a bowl.
And at this point, we can pop it in the fridge until it's ready to use.
Move that into the fridge until it's ready to use.
And once that's set, we can move on to make our mashed potatoes. And for 1 pound of fish, we will boil exactly 12 ounces of russet potato.
I don't know what 12 ounces of potato looks like, so I just guessed.
You have to cook with feeling.
I know you guys accuse me of finding the grossest produce for my videos, but I swear these were the potatoes I already had in my fridge.
In very generously salted water. And then what we'll do is cook these potatoes until they're perfectly soft and tender.
In very generously salted water.
And then once our potatoes are perfect, we will drain those very, very, very well.
And once our potatoes are perfect, we will drain them very, very, very well.
And we'll transfer them into a bowl, at which point we will mash those up.
Mash the potatoes with a Ligma fork.
And then what we'll do once that's mashed is season it up with some salt, a little pinch of freshly ground black pepper.
This guy really likes fresh things, doesn't he? My ex didn't like that I was fresh with other girls.
Jeez, okay.
And of course, a few shakes of cayenne.
No, you're not fooling me twice.
And then one of the other many secrets to this recipe, we will add about a teaspoon of freshly grated lemon zest.
Add some lemon zest.
And then we'll finish this up with a little bit of freshly chopped Italian parsley, plus some freshly and finely sliced chives.
I don't have chives, so I'm using green onion, the poor man's chive.
And then last but not least, as promised, 1 heaping spoonful of our previously made tartar sauce.
I feel like this is a good hack. Sauce on the inside, sauce on the outside, lubing it up on the outside and inside, just like when I go into my room alone at night.
And we will take our chilled, well-drained fish, and we will flake it over the top.
Take our semi-chilled, semi-well-drained fish and flake it over the top. Do you like this sound?
And then we'll scoop out exactly 1/4 of our mixture, and we'll form that into a patty and transfer that onto a plate.
Now I feel like we're just making burgers.
And then once we have those portions formed, we'll want to coat both sides with flour, which I'm going to do by tossing some in a strainer and dusting it over the top.
I don't have a strainer, so I'm just going to kind of pat it on with my hands.
And I know a lot of people like to do this by tossing it in a pan of flour, but that way you have to throw away everything you don't use. So I think this method is more efficient.
Oh, that's actually a good technique, bro.
And if you're thinking that sounds great, but shouldn't you have put flour down on the plate first so you didn't have to flip these? Well, yes, I should have.
You know, for all the times you guys make fun of me for messing up recipes, it's really encouraging seeing somebody who's been cooking longer than I've been alive mess up.
These would each be dipped in beaten egg before we coated them in breadcrumbs. But just like the flour, I'm going to do this on the plate, just using 1 egg. And what we'll do is pour about half of that over the top. And we'll use a pastry brush to brush that over the top and on the sides. And then we'll flip them over and pour over the rest and do the other side.
You know, I'm going to steal this technique. Eggs are so expensive and I eat a dozen every day for my gabap diet.
And that's it once egged. We can transfer these on top of some panko breadcrumbs and then pour some more over the top.
You know, I have high hopes for these fish cakes. If you coat something in panko and fry it in oil, it's hard to fuck it up.
The first of which would be pan frying over medium heat in about 1/4 inch of vegetable oil. But assuming that oil was hot, and you made yours roughly the same size I did, these are going to pan fry for about 3 to 4 minutes per side.
Flip the fish cakes away from you, otherwise you'll splatter yourself in hot oil and have to go to the emergency room. Don't ask me how I found that out.
Yeah!
And that's it. After draining that on a paper towel, we'll go ahead and serve that up. Maybe next to a little bit of watercress, and maybe some fresh lemon. And of course, our beautiful homemade tartar sauce.
I don't even know where to get watercress, so I have it on a plate with some fresh lemon and some shredded cabbage. You know, like they serve you with tonkatsu and they like to pretend it's a salad.
And Bob's your uncle. I was ready to enjoy.
There it is, my proper British fish cake.
What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass that.
All right, let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10. I burned my mouth, but it was worth it. The fish flavor really comes through, and the interior is soft and comforting, while the exterior is nice and crisp. I give it a 9.2. When it comes to cooking, we cannot overlook the wisdom our YouTube forefathers have to teach us. In a world where everything is increasingly scarier, more expensive, and more complicated, cooking a meal for yourself and your friends is one of the best ways to give life meaning. I hope we can all carve out some time to remind ourselves what we could have if we came together and fought for it. All right, thank you.